Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Habibis, welcome to the List Stream. I am Siraj Hashmi. As always, you can watch on Rumble. You can watch on YouTube. But you can only vote on Twitch. What else can I really say that's going on in the world right now? President Biden does a press conference, a marathon press conference for almost 2 hours last week. And during that time, you have reporters and journalists praising Biden. Yamiche Alcindor saying President Biden, in the longest news conference in presidential history, made news, pushed back on critics, called out lies, took responsibility for mistakes he believes he made, expressed surprise as GOP talked foreign policy, and didn't lash out on reporters. Quite the change. And it gets worse from there.
Why are you saying 8,500 trips to the Frank What do you think President Biden placed that? Do you think he places the political liability?
That's a great asset. More inflation. What a stupid son of a bitch.
And then, sorry, folks, technical issues. Quite unbelievable, but also believable, considering how Biden ran on the position of being the anti-Trump. Should we really be surprised that he's basically turning out the same? If actually everything, I wouldn't actually say the same. I would say all of the fears that liberals had about Trump, Biden is fulfilling every single one of those. Lashing out at reporters, want to be authoritarian. He's weak with his adversaries. I mean, the list keeps going. Dude actually, rubbed elbows with segregationists. He co-sponsored the 1994 crime bill. He has a brain made of mush. Really, he is pretty fucking bad. Anyways, let's get to the list. This is our projection of the week. Obviously, thank you to Ben Morrissey, the list turn, for putting this together. Dude puts up way too much shit. And he has a little or nothing to show for it because he's fucking fired. Let's start off with number 10. The New Republic. New Republic tweets out, there's a long history of non-citizen voting in America. Even the Confederacy embraced it. From @MayaWiley. The title of the article, on non-citizen voting, New York City blazes another trail. Now, I have to point out here, there is a key thing you all have to know here. For one, if you are going to embrace and push forward non-citizen voting, it's just like the term that's being defined by the left, and that is about what is a woman. If you create a scenario where non-citizens are voting, what the fuck is a citizen? Does a citizen hold any privileges in a society that a non-citizen does? If you completely erode that portion about voting, because I'm pretty sure, but if I recall correctly, that almost every single citizen, what distinguishes citizens from non-citizens is the right to vote, as far as I know. Number 9, we have the DCCC, tweeting a tweet from January 21st saying Republicans love to scream and shout about small government until it comes to reproductive freedom. And then they quote tweet themselves, writing, Republicans have no business interfering in your private medical decisions, period. I would love to see that same enthusiasm directed towards people about vaccine mandates and putting experimental vaccines under emergency authorization into your bodies. I just love that we have to constantly go through this and act like the two don't work in tandem. I just can't. I can't believe they actually write this shit. I cannot believe they actually write this shit. Coming in at number 6, Wajaha Ali. Now, if you know what happened, not this past weekend, but the weekend before, we had a really, could have been a very bad situation. It was a bad situation, but it could have been way worse than it actually was. Jewish Community Center, Temple Beth Israel, or Congregation Beth Israel in Colleyville, Texas, a suburb of Dallas. A radical Islamic terrorist took several congregants, several members of that synagogue hostage, demanding the release of Afia Siddiqui, a convicted terrorist branded as what? Lady Al-Qaeda? Was it Madam Al-Qaeda? What was the name again? I can't recall the full name. But in any event, you have Jews who are literally being held hostage, not sure if they're going to live or die past that Saturday, past the Sabbath. And instead of saying, oh, I don't know, my prayers are with Congregation Beth Israel, like a normal person, this is what Wajaha Ali, this is what he tweets. You're about to hear some ugly and vicious Islamophobia and anti-Muslim bigotry this weekend from elected officials, commentators, and even mainstream media. Hope I'm wrong. People will use it to divide Jewish and Muslim communities for their political agenda. Don't fall for it. Look at that fucking engagement. 2,500 retweets, over 10,000 likes. Folks, Habibis, we live in a clown world where shit like this passes muster, and I'm called a fucking sellout for saying this is ridiculous shit. It is. Name one person whose feelings are hurt because of this hostage crisis that's Muslim. I mean, besides me, because I always get my feelings hurt. It's just amazing to me that you have someone here still trying to parrot the, post 9/11, oh, woe is me, we Muslims are under attack. Like that tweet by Norm Macdonald is so on point. I don't know if it's here, but it was like, imagine if a nuclear bomb went off in Manhattan or something like that, in New York. And the immediate response is like, can you imagine the backlash that peaceful Muslims will face? Is literally this. Instead of focusing on the actual acts of anti-Semitism coming from the Muslim community, and let me be clear, I fucking hate saying let me be clear. That word is the worst because all the libs have basically used, all the lib politicians say it when they're about to, lie about some dumb shit. In any event, there is a lot of anti-Semitism that comes from the Muslim community. It's like Jay and I talk about it extensively on the VV Power Hour. Like, it is no joke. And people on the left just like don't want to acknowledge that. Coming in at number 3, we have Robert Reich, which again, I really feel like I'm actually kind of upset by this. I'm upset because Ben must hate women He certainly must hate Kirsten Sinema to not put this at number 1. Robert Reich tweets out, tonight, Republican senators lined up to shake Kirsten Sinema's hand. Democratic senators should have given her the backs of their hands. Look at him, encouraging violence against women. 1/3 Reich. That's good. That's good. That's good. It's very good. Very good. I like that joke. I like it. Our number 1 candidate, our number 1 projection is someone who did it in probably one of the, or they try to be cute with it, and that's Gene Wu. Gene Wu, who is a Texas state representative of the 137th district in Southwest Houston, tweets out about Meatloaf's passing. Meatloaf, who died at the age of 74, reportedly from COVID. Gene Wu tweets out, we mourn Mr. Loaf's passing. In the end, he finally let us know what that one thing was that he wouldn't do for love. Get vaccinated. And he continues going. He was truly fearless. Meatloaf saying, I'm happy to give you a hug. I hug people in the middle of COVID. Adding that he refused to live in fear, and live life in fear, which, I'm sorry I understood stopping life for a little while, but they cannot continue to stop life because of politics. And right now, they're stopping because of politics. Gene continues. He lived his convictions. He was in poor health, but flaunted all efforts to protect himself or others. He said he was prepared for the consequences of his own decisions, and he got exactly that. On a similar note, today during a statewide COVID meeting, the announcement was hospitals are critically over capacity. Medicines are starting to run low. Begging people to mask up. Really need to get people vaccinated, but people won't. And then he says, hey, save some faux outrage for tomorrow. There you have it. There is our projected top 10. But we're not done because we have a bunch of honorable mentions and latecomers to the discussion. So next up, we got Walker Bragman tweeting out, take Manchin into a back room, tell him federal investigators are going to look into his daughter's price fixing, tell him the military bases are moving out of West Virginia, tell him he's off his committees, or he can play ball. I'm trying to figure out exactly what the shit this guy's doing. So you want the feds? This dude wants the fucking feds to go after the United States Senator's daughter to get him to abolish the filibuster. Do these people hear themselves before they fucking tweet? Sarah says, I don't think we have any bases on West Virginia. I don't know. I have no idea. I have zero clue. But this is the level of lunacy we're dealing with. Next up, we got CNN Politics. CNN Politics. Let me blow that up. Terrorist joke. White House says President Biden was not making human comparison between segregationists and opponents of voting rights bill in his address in Atlanta this week. So that whole thing about saying you're either on the side of John Lewis or you're on the side of Bull Connor, that wasn't, you're just basically carrying water for him now? Really? That's where we are? Fucking shoot me. Oh, but it's not over because we got more CNN. Oh, wait, that's Alan Dershowitz. Oh, maybe. I think I know what happened. I think Ben fucked up. Let's see here. I think it's time to fire Ben once and for all. Yep, it's because he put a Alan Dershowitz tweet in there. This is the other tweet. CNN tweeting, should the government control the price of food and gas? Fuck no. Why would you even suggest that? Govern me harder, daddy. That's basically where we are with the corporate media. They're basically saying, govern me harder, daddy. They truly are the worst. Next up, we have Mehdi Hassan. Mehdi Hassan tweeting out, more than 3,500 people died from COVID in America on Friday. A higher death toll than on 9/11. Here we go again with the 9/11. Oh, Laterna. Okay. Let me try that again. Let me zoom in. It is the ACX time, sir. Okay, Mehdi Hassan, he tweets out more than 3,500 people died from COVID in America on Friday, a higher death toll than on 9/11. And yet, on Friday night, Barry Weiss was telling Bill Maher that the pandemic should be considered over. Sheesh. I actually had not seen the clip that everyone's been tweeting about Betty Weiss. Betty Weiss. Betty Weiss. Where is that? Where is that clip? Is that here?
No, I'm done with COVID. I'm done. It's like I went so hard on COVID. I
remember.
Sprayed the Pringles cans that I bought at the grocery store, stripped my clothes off because I thought COVID would be on my clothes. Like, I did it all. I watched Tiger King. I got to the end of Spotify. Like, we all did it, right? And
No, we didn't all do it.
Well, here's the thing. A lot of us did do it. And then we were told, you get the vaccine. You get the vaccine and you get back to normal. And we haven't gotten back to normal. And it's ridiculous at this point. I know that so many of my liberal and progressive friends are with me on this, and they do not want to say it out loud because they are scared to be called anti-vax or to be called science denial or to be, smeared as a Trumper. I'm sorry, if you believe the science, you will look at the data that we did not have 2 years ago, and you will find out that cloth masks do not do anything. You will realize that you can show your vaccine passport at a restaurant and still be asymptomatic and carrying Omicron. And you will realize, most importantly, that this is going to be remembered by the younger generation as a catastrophic moral crime. The city of Flint, Michigan, which is 80%, I think, minority students, has just announced indefinite virtual schooling. In the past 2 years, we've seen among young girls a 51% increase in self-harm. People are killing themselves. They are anxious. They are depressed. They are lonely. That is why we need to end it more than any inconvenience that it's been to the rest of us. I think it's a pandemic. It's like at this point, it's a pandemic of bureaucracy. It's a pandemic of bureaucracy.
So, getting back to the non-echoey version of the stream, which hopefully we're right back on track. No, I agree with Barry Weiss. It is a catastrophic moral crime. I do appreciate her wording of it, as she didn't she didn't use, the types of hyperbole that just make us roll our eyes, like, comparing it to the Holocaust or comparing it to, Japanese internment or shit, just, comparing it to basically 9/11 or Pearl Harbor. So Mehdi Hassan seems to think Mehdi Hassan's a fucking dumbass. The dude is completely out of his element. I used to think he was smart. Obviously, I was mistaken because in those days I was a lib. And honestly, he's a gaffer. And our last contestant within the honorable mentions, of course, there are some late additions, so we'll get to those in just a moment. New York Times World tweets out, as Beijing prepares to host the 2022 Winter Olympics, it has changed a lot since it held the 2008 Summer Games. Instead of mollifying its critics, China defies them. But China has also expanded its economy and cleaned up air pollution. Bull fucking shit. In 2019, I wrote a story about how I wrote an article. It wasn't a story because story basically could sound be fiction, nonfiction. I wrote an article about, and there's data to back this up, and that is China. China was found in violation of the 1987 Montreal Accords that had to focus on reducing ozone depleting chemicals. One of those chemicals is called CFC11. It's trichlorofluoromethane. Okay. It has a ozone depleting coefficient of 1. It is the most harmful chemical to the ozone layer. What happened in China was they became not only the world's leading emitters of CFC11, they have been doing it specifically since 1987, and they've only ramped up production. So this idea that somehow China has cleaned up air pollution, obvious bullshit. Then again, pretty much any story that comes out of China, got to take it with a grain of salt. And it's very much bullshit. Then we have Brian Stelter. Brian Stelter tweeting out, calling a journalist a son of a bitch. Let me preface this. Brian Stelter tweeted this in March of 2018 when Trump was president. Calling a journalist a son of a bitch, it was wrong when Trump was just a candidate, and it's even worse now that he's POTUS. That's the shot. Here's the chaser. Brian Stelter retweeting Jen Chaney. Of course, this will probably be the lead story on Fox News for the next 2 days, turning it into a thing when it should really be a blip. Gets better. I feel like this is a double list. Brian Stelter tweeting out an hour ago, so that's right after this whole thing. He tweets out, this is from 2018. It's still true. Biden was wrong to call Ducey an SOB. The press is right to hold presidents to high standards. Biden doesn't berate the media like Trump, so the context for today is different, but it's still out of line. And then our queen, Jennifer Rubin, tweets out, it was a hot mic. Just fucking beautiful. Just beautiful. Our queen at it again. Thank you. Thank you, queen. So we're going to do number 6 through 10. Walker Bragman, CNN, BCCC, New Republic, and Mehdi Hassan. We're going to make this a 2-minute poll. Let me just show you the tweets before we actually launch the poll. All right, Walker Bragman. You want this in Desi accent? Sir, you want it in Desi accent? Okay, I give you Desi accent, sir. Walker Bragman tweets out, take Manchin into back room. Tell him federal investigators are going to look into his daughter's price fixing. Tell him the military bases are moving out of West Virginia. Tell him he's off his committees, or he can play ball. CNN tweets out, White House says President Biden was not making human comparison between segregationists and opponents of voting rights bills in his address to Atlanta this week. They also tweet out, should the government control the price of food and gas? Sir, it is bullshit. We have DCCC, sir. Where are they, sir? Republicans, sir, they have no business interfering in your private medical decisions, period. No Republic, sir. No Republic. They tweet out, there's long history of non-citizen voting in America. Even the Confederacy embraced it. From Maya Wiley. And then, sir, we have Mehdi Hassan tweeting out, more than 3,500 people died from COVID in America on Friday. A higher death toll than on 9/11. And yet, on Friday night, Barry Weiss was telling Bill Maher that the pandemic should be considered over. Sheesh. We have those candidates, 2 minutes on clock, 6 through 10. Go ahead, get those votes in, sir. Oh my God, we got a tie between Walker Bragman and DCCC. Walker Bragman. versus D-Triple-C. Walker Bragman, you already saw this one. It is the Mafia tactics for Manchin. And then D-Triple-C, Republicans have no business interfering in your private medical decisions, sir. 1 minute on clock, poll begins now, sir. Look at that. Walker Bragman takes it, number 6. No, stays where it is. So, I'm sorry, not number 6, number 7. Yeah, that's my fault. I am a boomer. You have to forgive me. That was for number 7, not number 6. Okay, let us do 1 through 5, shall we? Okay, Gene Wu, Robert Reich, Wajaha Ali, New York Times World, and Brian Studhard. We'll start off with Brian Studhard. He tweets out, calling journalists a son of bitch. It was wrong when Trump was just a candidate. It is even worse now that he's POTUS. Brian Studhard then tweets this out this evening after Biden calls Peter Doocy son of bitch. He says this is from 2018. It's still true. Biden was wrong to call Doocy and Saw. The press is right to hold presidents to high standards. Biden doesn't parade with media like Trump. So the context for today is different, but still outlined. New York Times World tweets out, as Beijing prepares to host the 2022 Winter Olympics, it has changed a lot since it held the 2008 Summer Games. Instead of mollifying its critics, China defies them. But China has also expanded its economy and cleaned up air pollution. Wajahat Ali tweets out, you're about to hear some ugly and vicious Islamophobia. This is in response to anti-Semitic hostage taking. You're about to hear some ugly and vicious Islamophobia and anti-Muslim bigotry this weekend from elected officials, commentators, and even mainstream media. Hope I'm wrong. People will use it to divide Jewish and Muslim communities for their own political agenda. Don't fall for it. He is dumb as bricks, sir. Robert Reich. He tweets out tonight, Republican senators lined up to shake Kirsten Sinema's hand. Democratic senators should have given her the backs of their hands. Oh, how can she slap? How can she slap? How can she slap me, sir? And then, sir, we have Gene Wu tweeting out, we mourn Mr. Lowe's passing. In the end, he finally let us know what the one thing was that he wouldn't do for love. Get vaccinated. 2 minutes on clock. Poll begins now. Gene Wu takes it with 69 votes. Dropped them 69s in the chat. Gene Wu followed by Robert Reich at number 2. At number 3, we have New York Times World. And then Brian Stelter. As always, you can find me on Twitter at Siraj Hashmi. If you haven't already, in the description of this video and in the chat if you're watching on Twitch, there is the link to the Habibi Discord server. If you'd like to be a part of the conversation offline, just go ahead and check that out. Go ahead and download Discord if you haven't already, and click on the link to join the Habibi Discord server. As always, you can like, subscribe our channel. That's under both Habibi Power Hour and Habibi Bros on Rumble. Under my name, Siraj Hashmi on YouTube, and my name as well on Twitch. So, appreciate everyone's support. If you want to just exclusively follow List, give a shit about me, which is perfectly fine, you can go on Twitter to @ListComesForAll. Comes. And you can just follow along for every listing that's done. So, Habibis, thank you all so much for joining me on the stream tonight. Peace out. Masalam.